Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little mini lesson here on 050 notes, graphing quadratic vertex form, given some open-ended and multiple choice. So, some things we need to know here before we get started with a few problems. When you are given a quadratic equation in vertex form, we do not need to identify A, B, and C like we done for standard form. Here's an example of a quadratic equation that's in vertex form. Vertex form is when there's an algebraic expression inside a set of parentheses where there's a squared in it. That's vertex form. Now, we could have f of x equals all this or y equals all this. Both of them are vertex form. In vertex form, we find the x value of the vertex inside the set of parentheses here. So here we have x plus 4. What we actually got to do, instead of it being positive 4, we take the opposite value of the inside the parentheses. So the opposite of plus 4 will be negative 4, which you'll see here in our answer is negative 4. That's our x value. We could find the y value of the vertex by identifying the sign and the number that is without the variable, which in this case, this negative 2 is attached to the parentheses, so the negative 8 is without a variable. It tends to be at the end of the equation when you're given vertex form here. So it tends to be negative 8. So our answer here is negative 8. It's the sign, the number at the end of the algebraic expression. The vertex is the point in which either the top of the slope or the bottom of the valley in our answers. It's that special coordinate. It tends to be in the middle, or is in the middle of our pictures here. So let's do one thing first. Also, is you have to take out your graphing calculator for this. And we're going to be using that y equals button that we're familiar with. And we're going to be typing in equations like we've been doing the past couple days in class. So, if you don't have your graphing calculator, it's okay. You could use the Desmos app. Like we talked about in class there, we could download Desmos, which is like a nice little free app online. And it has a green icon. All right, let's do a problem together. So we got y equals negative 1, parentheses, x plus 3, close parentheses, squared, minus 2. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 in between the negative sign and the parentheses. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up our graphing calculator. We're going to hit the on button. We could clear our calculator by doing second plus sign 712, enter. That clears the RAM of our calculator, so we're all starting fresh. Hit the y equals button in the top left hand corner. We hit the negative button, which is the one that's next to the enter button down on the bottom. Type in 1, parentheses, x plus 3, close parentheses, squared, minus sign, which is above the plus sign. So right above the plus sign is the minus sign. Hit the minus sign. Minus 2. Then we hit our graph. When we hit the graph button, you see what our picture is going to look like. Now, the vertex is the point at which the slope changes from positive to negative. It's the top of the mountain in this picture. So, to find exactly again where that is, we hit second table. We know our vertex is negative 3, negative 2. Remember, it's the opposite sign of what's inside the parentheses. So our vertex is at negative 3. So on our graphing calculator on our table, scroll up to negative 3. So the black box is on negative 3. Now negative 3, if we push to the right, you see that's the y value that goes with negative 3. So you have negative 3, negative 2. So plot the point negative 3, negative 2. Then you go above, you have negative 4, negative 3. And you have negative 5, 5 to the left, 5, 6 down for negative 6. So negative 5, negative 6 is that point right there. Now we also got to plot the point negative 2, negative 3, and negative 1, negative 6. And we have ourselves our nice little parabola. We connect them up. They get nice and curvy. We have a parabola. We graphed a parabola given vertex form. Let's do another one. So we have y equals 1 parentheses x minus 2 squared minus 1. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 in front of that parentheses. So let's hit the y equals button on our graphing calculator. We'll clear out the first problem we did. And I want you to type in 1 parentheses x minus 2 close parentheses squared minus 1. Then hit our graph button. You're going to see what our graph looks like. Now to find out the bottom of that valley, or the bottom of the parabola there, that's going to be at negative, it's the inverse operation, it's the reverse of negative 2, so it's positive 2, negative 1. So the vertex is at positive 2, comma, negative 1. That's where our vertex is. I don't know if I make this pretty. Put it on our little table. Our vertex is 2, negative 1. So, to find out all the rest of the coordinates, we do second graph and we get our table. So at positive 2, we scroll down to positive 2. That's the point that's in the middle. So we plot that point 2 to the right, 1 down. We're also going to plot the point 3 to the right, 0 up, down. And 4 to the right, 3 up. So 4 to the right, 3 up. This is all counting from the origin. Then we also need to plot the point 0 left, right, 3 up. And we need to plot the point 1 to the right, 0 up, down. Then we connect them. Alright. Get the right tool. We connect them. Make sure it goes through that point. Voila. There's our parabola. And it continues to go up and up and up on both sides. Let's do one more. Number 3. In our notes here. Y equals 2 parentheses x plus 1 squared plus 3. So I'm going to hit my y equals button on my calculator, my graphing calculator. And then I'm going to type in 2 parentheses x plus 1 close parentheses squared plus 3. Then I hit my graph button. I get a parabola. Then to find out those coordinates, I go second graph to my table. Now to find out what exactly coordinate I should start off with, I use my vertex. Well, my vertex is going to be the opposite of what's in the middle of the parentheses. So we have positive 1 there, so negative 1 is going to be in the middle. So I scroll to negative 1 on my graphing calculator, and that says the point negative 1, 3. So I take my coordinate, I go 1 to the left, 3 up. That's my first one. Then on my graphing calculator, I see negative 2, 5. So 2 to the left, 5 up. Then I also see negative 3, 11. So I go 3 to the left, 11 up. Then I also got 0, 5. So I go 0 left, right, 5 up. And then 1, 11. So 1 to the right, 11 up. We connect them up. And we got ourselves a parabola. Let's do another. So now we got y equals 3 parentheses x minus 4 squared plus 4. So I hit my y equals button on my graphing calculator. I clear the first one by hitting the clear button. Then I type in my new problem. 3 parentheses x minus 4 close parentheses squared plus 4. Hit the graph button. I see my graph. I do second graph. I get a table. I do my opposite. So that's plus 4 inside the parentheses. That's where I'm going to be starting at. So I go to my table. I go to positive 4. That's going to be the middle of my parabola. So that'd be 4, 4. So I plot my first coordinate 4, 4. 4 to the right, 4 up. Then I plot the next coordinate 3, 7. So 3 to the right, 7 up. Then 5, 7. And 6, 16. So 6 to the right, 16 up. And 2, 16. Those are my coordinates. So even if it's not perfectly labeled, you can just go halfway through the box if they're jumping 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Alright, if you have any questions, just send me an email or come to Extra Help. I'll be happy to help you out. Alright, have a good night.